What's up, family? So I just watched this insane interview, right, with Paul McCartney, where he talks about something that could seriously change the future of music, and it got me thinking a lot, right, about how technology is, shaping creativity, and honestly, I think we need to talk about it, right. But before we talk about it, let me turn the lights on, illuminator right here, get some illumination going on here, some good vibes, right. Um, give me a second, folks. All right. So we got some illumination going on here. So, uh, I think we need to talk about it. And here's the scoop so far. Paul McCartney, sat down with Laura Cord in a rare interview where he expressed some serious concern about artificial intelligence, AI as we know it, and its potential impact on musicians. And he's worried about it. That AI could literally steal the creative works of artists. Even worse, leave no room for the next generation of musicians to succeed. Right now, the government is considering a policy that will allow AI companies to use music that's available online without respecting copyright laws. Meaning these companies could use an artist's music to help develop their AI models without compensating the creator. And while the government claims creators could opt out of this, McCartney points out that's practically impossible for many artists, especially with the thousands of tech companies working with this kind of data. So here's where it gets interesting, right? And then I'll play it. I just wanted to point out one statement as we go along and break this down and have a conversation. In his interview, Paul McCartney made a really powerful statement, and he said, the money is going somewhere, and it should go to the person who created it. So when you think about it, why shouldn't it? If someone uses music or creative work to build a whole AI system, shouldn't you see some benefit? After all, it is your art. So with no further ado, I just wanted to preface the conversation before we have it, family. And now let's check out the video. All right, family.
Paul McCartney says he fears that modern technology could destroy opportunities for the next generation of musicians.
Government is considering allowing companies to use material that's available online to develop their artificial intelligence programs unless the original creators opt out. In an exclusive interview with Laura Koonsberg, the former Beatles said it would mean future artists could be ripped off.
McCartney's musical genius has made millions of people happy for decades. His fear, the most modern of technologies, could destroy opportunities for the next generation. The government's considering allowing artificial intelligence firms to use artists' content online without respecting copyright if they're using it to develop their computer models. But in a rare interview, the Beatles said that would be a rip-off, making it impossible for the next generation of artists to pay the bills.
What do you think the risk is for the next generation of musicians coming through?
So, for instance, you get young guys, girls, coming up and they write a beautiful song and they don't own it and they don't have anything to do with it, and anyone who wants can just rip it off. I mean, the truth is the money's going somewhere. And it gets on the streaming platforms. Somebody's getting it.
You gotta agree. You gotta think about it, right? Because obviously, if something wasn't valuable, it won't be used. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, we all use each other in life. We all have to go through that manager. We all have to go through that, that process of getting our degrees, educating ourselves, advancing, giving ourselves the skill set to be viable within companies, to see as a viable asset to the company, to be brought on and be hired, right? To have a job, right? And when we really think about it, and really, really, really think about it, if you can't be used, you're worthless. And obviously, if these AI companies as these AI companies are using creators' music as a way of incorporating artificial intelligence to be compensated, why would they not be being compensated if the artist's music is worth something? Obviously, it's being used for a reason. So my point that I'm saying is, if If it wasn't viable enough, then the music wouldn't be used. And if obviously it is viable enough, because at the end of the day, these AI companies wouldn't be looking into that direction of using creators' music to continue to grow. They would be going looking somewhere elsewhere that's seen as viable to build up their companies to be a big enterprise, incorporating or artificial intelligence or bigging up artificial intelligence in its entirety. And now, before you think this is just about some billionaire talking, remember this affects all artists, right? Especially up and coming ones. New musicians and independent creators are going to be the ones who get hit the hardest. And if companies can freely use their music to train AI without compensation, they could be left in the dust with little chance to actually profit off their work. And to make things more complicated, McCartney brings up something pretty crucial: the government's role. Check it out.
And it should be the person who created it. It shouldn't just be some tech giant somewhere. Somebody's getting paid. So why shouldn't it be the guy who sat down and wrote yesterday? It should be something to do with him. And, you know, that guy should have control of what happens.
Yeah, they got a point.
It's not just musicians like Sir Paul.
Make the decision at the moment about how to and whether to protect the copyright of artists like you.
We're the people. You're the government. You're supposed to protect us. That's your job. So, you know, if you're putting through a bill, make sure you protect the creative thinkers, the creative artists, or you're not going to have them.
As simple as that.
Let's protect the creative people, yeah.
Well, you got to think about it, family. Just think about it for a second. That's a big blanket statement. And I say that because he says the government role is supposed to protect us. But it also plays into part on who you elect, who lobbies the best interest of the American people. And that's why your vote matters, and your vote is your voice. Because these, not only just from a national election like the president, but your local legislators, your senators, your mayors, you know, those public officials are the ones that should be lobbying your best interest to protect you. But you have to be involved in the process of getting engaged, getting informed, staying informed to hold these individuals accountable so we can protect, for example, the niche of music, and in this case, protect musicians in regards of them having rights to their creativity and which they put the hard work in and became lucrative and became seen valuable in the first place by them putting their own work in. So the government should be stepping in to regulate this, but also individuals, other musicians, just like Paul McCartney, should be speaking out and definitely having meetings with individuals. And when it comes to the government and local legislators and public officials, because let's be honest, who is more affiliated, who is more, what can I say? Who is more familiar with this type of industry in the first place? The artists, right? And there has to be a fine line in regards of things being lucrative in its entirety, having the best interest of the people, but also, most importantly, the best interest for the economy, right? So we continue to thrive, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So the government should be putting the proper regulations on protecting the creators and creativity to encourage more creators to be more prone to create and to be lucrative for everybody. Big corporations, we all work together hand in hand in unity, but there has to be order, right? Not chaos. And I want to know, do you guys think this whole conversation just adds more complexity to an already messy digital world? Comment down below. But let's continue.
The government says creators would be allowed to opt out, and it wants to create legal certainty and hear the music industry's views. But critics reckon it's just not practical to expect an individual artist to contact thousands of different tech companies.
Watch the full interview with Paul McCartney tomorrow morning at 9, on Sunday with Laura Kuenssberg here on.
All right. So we have seen that. So let's look at, let's consider more things, right? The idea of AI using music isn't as far off as it sounds. AI generated music is already a thing. And if you look at companies like OpenAI, AVI Technologies, Intel, they're already, excuse me, family, they're already developing AI that can compose music, sometimes based on regular songs or entire genres. And that's cool, right? I mean, AI can make some pretty amazing soundtracks and tracks from everything from movies to video games. But if AI is trained on music that's available online, whether it's Paul McCartney or a local indie artist, it gets a little murky. Is it fair for tech companies to profit off of music they didn't create? Where do we draw the line, like I said, between innovation and exploitation? And if this becomes the new normal, young artists can find themselves in a world where their music is being used to train AI, but they don't see a dime for it. But think about it. You worked your whole life, just to add the context, like life perfecting your craft, writing songs and pouring your heart into music. And then an AI company comes along, uses your work, and you give nothing. And that's the part where McCartney really gets passionate. And he talks about how new musicians basically will have no control over their creations, and they'll write these beautiful songs, and then poof, it's all fair game. So for anyone who wants to use it, basically. And if you don't protect the artists, he says you're not going to have them. And what happens to art when it becomes something people can just take for free, right? What happens to it? You know? So, and then the catch with the opt-out option. The government's counter argument is the artists could opt out of letting their music be used by AI companies. Sounds nice, right? But McCartney and others argue that this isn't just practical for average artists. Imagine trying to contact every tech company that might be using your work. The logistics would be a nightmare. And it's not like every artist has the resources to track this stuff down. For instance, David Lowry, frontman of Cracker and advocate for musicians' rights, has said that the current systems of copyright enforcement is already a mess. So expecting individuals or individual artists to opt out of AI systems might just be unrealistic. That's why we're at a crossroads now. Should we trust tech companies to respect artists' work and honor copyright laws? Or should there be more regulation that guarantees fair pay and ownership? Let me know down in the comments below. But what do you think? I really want to hear your thoughts on this because I think it's an issue that's not going to go away anytime soon. Should artists have the right to control their work against AI tech? Or are we just stuck in a world where new technologies outpace protections for creativities? Comment down below because it brings another question of also, do you think the government should step in and create better protections for artists when it comes to AI? And if an music is used by AI, should they be compensated, or is it that's just how the digital age works? Right? Where is the balance between protecting artists and encouraging technological progress? Can we have both? So I want to know what you think. Drop your comments down in the comments below. Let's have a discussion about the future of music, AI, and creative rights. And on that note, family, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a big thumbs up. Spread the peace, love, and positivity. On that note, family, peace.